Okay, well here we go with that Dao de Jing, the virtue of the way, the classic of the way, the Tao and its power or its virtue, Dao de Jing. And I'm going to read a few more of these stanzas and talk about them. But first, it was occurring to me, I'm in my desk or at my desk out in my little makeshift office here, and I have lots of rocks out here. Surprise, surprise. And I was thinking about I don't have my polisher running right now or my tumbler. I need to take some rocks out. I started a new load, but I apparently loaded it too heavy, and my wheel wasn't turning. But I didn't have time to fix it then, and apparently haven't had time since. But I love rocks, and here's one. Let's start with this one, which is really lovely stuff. You can see it polished up really nicely, but it's also got some very significant, flaws, pock marks, scars on it, and but much better than what it's hiding right now. Wait, let's try this. I have so much fun with these kinds of things. There we go. Oh, perhaps we'll just talk like that the rest of the time. Oh, well, here's the thing. From a Taoist point of view, because I have this tumbler, I'm basically trying to speed up the process of nature. I mean, I even use water in that tumbler along with some sand and grit, stuff that, one would find in a stream, flowing along and working its way across the stones at the, bottom of the river or the creek. And so I'm hurrying up that process. This would not be smiled upon. Furthermore, I'm hurrying up that process with a machine, and that makes it even worse. Since there is a line, I don't think it's in any of the stanzas I'm going to read for you, but there is a line warning against what are called labor-saving devices. Anything that human beings invent to make their life less strenuous or more easy. I always think of escalators, like at a mall. How hard is it really? I mean, for some people, yes, but all the people that take escalators or elevators when they could take the stairs. And I'm not saying I never take the elevator, but that's just great. What quality, what texture. It's almost like a big old hunk of caramel. Isn't that beautiful? I like that a lot. Well, that's also one that's been polished, you see. So I used a labor-saving device to speed up the process of nature, of water flowing in the stream, to work away the rough edges, and eventually even to erode the rock entirely. And that's, of course, pointed out as one of the great powers of the Tao. It's like water that, it meets resistance, and rather than fight against the resistance, finds its way around the resistance. But just as it does that, it is also working down that resistance. So over here on my other side, I have a stack of rocks that are, they're probably going to get polished eventually. Right now, this one is, it's a lovely stone, and it's certainly what a Taoist mentality about rock collecting would approve of. Look at you. And I didn't notice this, but this actually has the face of the Buddha right there. Oh, no, that's Lao Tzu. Wow. There he is. He's about, you see his little mouth there, and eyes, very understanding. He's about to leave the city, and the guard at the city gate has insisted that he write down his wisdom before he leaves out into, the dark forest. So Taoish, the dark forest. I'm going to stop this in a minute, but this is interesting because it's obviously not polished, and it's also very rough. I'm actually going to polish this because I'm going to be interested to see how all these, what we might call flaws, but there's a little bit of crystal in there, and this might end up being quite interesting. But it is a recurring theme that the Tao is like flowing water and can break down any obstacle eventually. Well, this one I'm going to do. I should use this one. This okay. Is number 11 in the old numbering system on the Dao de Jing. Then above it, there's the number 55. This is on page 70. And we talked about this one a little bit. The importance of empty space. Empty space, I'm going to say again, it's very yin. That's yin, and thus it appeals to the Taoist. Because empty space is not where there's structure. The structure is the walls or the wheels or, the cup. The yin is the space that dwells in or in between. So 30 spokes converge on a single hub, but it is in the space where there is nothing that the usefulness of the cart lies. Clay is molded to make a pot, but it is in the space where there is nothing that the usefulness of the where there is nothing that the usefulness of the clay pot lies. Cut out doors and windows to make a room, but it is in the spaces where there is nothing that the usefulness of the room lies. Therefore, benefit may be derived from something, but it is in nothing that we find usefulness. So cool. Oh, wow. Number 18, page 80. When the great way, the Tao, was forsaken, there was humaneness. I'm going to stop there and say that that's the Chinese word Zhen, looks like Jen in English. That was a very important term for Confucius. So, I think it's the one that in Musa, one of the books used the term gentleman. But it's being a humane, human, a humane human. So when the great way, the Tao is forsaken, then, then all of a sudden, there's this big emphasis on humaneness and righteousness. So these are both Confucius concepts, and the proposition is Confucius and his regulations only became necessary because the Tao was forsaken. And thus, Confucius, as this great champion of yang, comes to restore balance he's not thinking about it that way. He thinks his way is the Tao, that the Tao is in these structured human relationships. So, when cunning and wit appeared, there was great falsity. So it's only when you have cunning and wit that you're going to have problems with falsehoods. When the 6 family relationships, father, oldest son, husband, wife, older brother, younger brother, perhaps older sibling, younger sibling, and then 2 more. When the 6 family relationships lacked harmony, then you get filial piety, that explicitly taught by Confucius. So kind of the idea being nobody needed all that structure that Confucius laid down on us until we had so blown it with actually incorporating the harmonies implied in the yin-yang that, then you get filial piety, love for your daddy, and parental kindness. Daddy, be kind to your children, and in the same kind of way, be kind as the husband to your wife. When the state and royal house were in disarray, when there's all kinds of crazy chaos going on politically. Then all of a sudden you get Confucius's desire for upright ministers. The idea is basically it's only this need for a true balance that calls forth all this Confucius regulations and rules and expectations. So it's not ultimately necessary, and probably we could say it not only is not necessary, it tends to reinforce a lack of harmony between yang and yin. Yeah. All right. This is such a good one. I'm going to do this one, then maybe stop. I'll probably do one more after this, but this is so great. This is number 20, page 83. This is, in my opinion, the great existentialist stanza of the Dao de Jing. Between yes, sir, and certainly not, how much difference is there? Between beauty and ugliness, how great is the distinction? He whom others fear, likewise, cannot but fear others. How confusing. There is no end to it all. Now here's the point where it gets all existentialist on us. You're going to have this kind of lonely fella looking at all the Chinese people celebrating the latest public ritual event, okay? All the stuff that Confucius just thought was just, creates civic obligation, it kind of forms loyalty and so on. So, joyful are the masses, as though feasting after the great sacrifice of oxen, or mounting a terrace in spring. So that sounds like, welcoming in the spring season. So that's those people, the masses. Yeah. You're dealing with an existentialist when they talk about the masses. You can find that both in Søren Kierkegaard and even more in his evil twin, Friedrich Nietzsche. But here's our Taoist existentialist. Motionless am I, without any sign, as a baby that is yet to gurgle. Remember, a baby's very yin. This writer compares him or herself to a baby that's not even really vocalizing yet. How dejected, as though having nowhere to return, while all those masses are over there enjoying the big party. The masses all have more than enough. I alone am bereft. I have the heart of a fool. How muddled. The ordinary man is luminously clear. The ordinary guy's got it all figured out. I alone seem confused. That's a philosophy major, isn't it? The ordinary man is searchingly exact. I alone am vague and uncertain. How nebulous. As the ocean. Oh, that's yin. How blurred. As though without boundary. Who likes boundaries? Confucians. The masses all have a purpose. I alone am stubborn and uncouth. I desire to be uniquely different from others by honoring the mother who nourishes. I think that's the Tao. Remember that the writer already compared himself to a little teeny baby, little helpless baby, can't even talk yet, but now different from others by honoring the mother who nourishes. Who nourishes what? Nourishes all the myriad creatures. How many? Oh, you remember. Yeah, I know. You're thinking about it right now. That's good. Okay, I'm going to pause, or I'm going to stop this one. Got to do one more.